Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Kick Me, your favorite crowdfunding news and reviews channel here on YouTube. I've been meaning to do this one for a little while, actually even before it launched, finally got around to it. This is an Indiegogo for the Atari VCS. VCS is video console system, something like that. Basically this is a actual Atari, legally called Atari product that's not only a retro game emulator, or I guess it's not emulating if it's a real thing, but it is also a modern home entertainment streaming device with open platform for creativity and customization. So this thing is going through the roof, almost 2.8 million. I'm sure it'll, in the next 20 days, it'll probably reach, who knows, 4 or 5 million. Most likely. It actually had a lot of pre-release buzz. Atari's a real company, even the modern Atari, so they know what they're doing PR-wise. And because it's a well-known brand name, and because things like the Nintendo NES Mini, whatever, re-release things have been getting a lot of attention, this thing sort of just got a lot of attention because of all those Perfect Storm things. So basically, it's a set-top box based on Linux. Let's watch the video. For some reason it's not playing here in Indiegogo, so I loaded it up on YouTube. It is really Atari. No, it doesn't really do that. That's just
now
for the video.
Open that portal and introduce a brand new Atari product, inspired by the past, but created, designed, and engineered for today.
So yeah, it's pretty cool looking design. It kind of has some retro throwback, including the wood panel, except unlike the real 2600, I think this is actual wood panel. It's one of those wood grains they use on phone cases and stuff.
It was just this meteor from another planet. It crashed here and kicked off.
If you don't know what a 2600 is, that's what it was. First very popular home video game system from Atari, who literally, invented coin-operated consoles too. Or at least they were one of the biggest pioneers. How many of you guys who are my age used to have a TV like this and or had one of these? I actually never had a 2600. I did have an Atari 800 though, which used the same controllers and could play much better games. But I used to play 2600 at my friend's house all the time.
Planet, it crashed here and kicked off the evolution of all gaming life as we know it.
Not only was this sort of a video game console, but it was turning television into a more social activity.
It was like we were transported into the future.
Something magical happening on the TV for the first.
What they're saying is true, but the picture looked like this, so it wasn't exactly transporting you
it is
very far.
Exciting to see Atari kind
of. So this thing is basically, it's like a Roku box. It's like an Apple TV. It's like I don't know, whatever, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, whatever, these kind of set-top boxes, or the smart TVs, all the Samsung ones, they have all this kind of stuff built in. But in this case, it comes with, I guess, an entire library of official Atari games. Maybe not every game made on the Atari, but a lot of them.
And take what they did well and reimagine that for this new generation that are...
So one thing, from what I understand, these are all simulated because the console thing is not really done yet. It's a prototype. Probably could do this, but I think this is not what it actually looks like yet. Concept, I guess.
Consuming media differently, having different...
And I guess I'm not an expert, but this looks like Twitch. So you can do modern shit, you can do your old shit.
Social experiences around this type of media.
It's taking everything we loved about that first sort of simple...
So it's amazing how many hipster dudes are waiting for Atari right now.
Retro Atari experience, the first time we used it, and bringing it into a modern context, which is a bit more complex.
One of the unique things about the Atari VCS is its PC architecture.
So yeah, it uses an AMD Bristol, Bristol whatever, processor. So it's basically...
operating system. You can play hundreds of classic Atari games on it, but there's more to it than that.
It's basically a... what's the word for it? Like an all-in-one card PC, PC on a card with a case. I had one of these things I reviewed for another channel, and they're basically like mini PCs. You can actually plug it straight in the HDMI port, and plug in a mouse or use a wireless mouse, and it's basically like a mini computer. This one obviously not running. I mean, it's based on Linux, but the software that comes in probably not a full PC. But it basically is the game console plus this UI, and you can even do SDK stuff and make your own software. And they have some kind of Play Store, iTunes Store called the Atari Store or something like that. So you can distribute your games through here too. I don't know if it's paid or not, but
With
there's a
social
system.
media, streaming video, music, and so much more.
Hey,
So,
Atari, let's play Tempest 4000.
and yeah, it's got freaking Siri built in too, apparently,
Our
or it
mission
will.
was to create an iconic and authentic Atari product. One that's beautiful and evokes emotion, not just another box to shove under your TV.
The thing is, I don't know, it's hard to tell, but this thing actually looks pretty big. It looks like it's, size of maybe the main keys on a keyboard, so 8 inches wide. I don't know if the dimensions on there, but it's a lot bigger than an Apple TV or Roku box, which are literally like, hockey pucks.
This amazing palette of iconic details. You got toggle switches and wood grain, and fins and angles. We looked at taking each of those core components and evolving it for a next generation to something that feels like it felt and not trying to look how it looked.
Make it feel like it felt, not look like it looked. I guess so, except it looks like it looked. So they go through how they use the ribs, and they made it into these little kind of expandable pieces, and I don't know if it's actually made that way or it just looks like that. If it is made that way, and this is actually accurate, it's amazing how little stuff there is inside of this thing. And yeah, here we go
Hard
again.
by solving for design intent, manufacturability, thermals, design for assembly, all at the same time.
One of the things that was exciting me the most about it was the controller.
This is actually pretty cool. So it's, one of the things is playing an old school game, you really just need one button and a 4-direction controller. For some of the newer games, or controlling this thing at all, I guess you could probably still connect like a wireless mouse or whatever, Bluetooth mouse, or even a wired one. But this one is like a rotating kind of haptic interface. Like they actually use them on cars and stuff a lot. BMW iDrive and things like that. I don't think this one has any feedback, but that would be pretty cool. So you can twist as well as directions, and it's got light up LEDs
Yet the same thing that I grew up with in my hand.
based
I was
on
super happy
whatever
with it.
motions
We
you're
wanted to
going.
do something really special for our biggest Atari fans. We've created a special launch edition of the VCS, only available on Indiegogo.
Atari has kind of transcended beyond even those. It's only done.
Yeah. Okay, we get the idea. It's actually kind of a long for a video.
Refreshing breath of air, roots.
Yeah, it looks
a
pretty similar.
refreshing
Feels like it
breath
feels.
of air to have the Atari
Again,
brand
kind of
come
surprisingly
back to
big.
gaming.
Okay, AtariVCS.com. If you go there, it actually just sends you the Indiegogo. So let's take a look at this. They have the collector's edition. I guess this is the launch one. And this thing expires, well, pretty soon. So by the time you see it, it's going to be gone. But it was $2.99 with the old school controller. But you can get that for $29. You can get the modern one, but I don't think you necessarily need this. Except this one's branded to Atari because it seems like this is also compatible with other devices, meaning it basically uses Bluetooth or whatever, and it's like Android compatible, etc. So probably could get away with it with just using a generic one. They got both. Here we go. So early bird for just the Onyx edition, $199. So you get the Onyx one plus, say, this guy for what, $230? So it's actually cheaper than this. So this is the wood grain. They're actually charging a lot extra. Let's see here. Yeah, so $230. So is it worth an extra $60 just to get the wood panel thing on the front? What else is different? Is there anything else different? I don't know. All in. So here you get it with the other controller. This is probably the better option, right? Because you get both controllers. They should give you a better discount. Or all in with the limited edition one. This one also expires soon, so Probably you guys should settle for this one. Anyway, so yeah, they've got separate videos. You guys can check this all out. This is all simulations, apparently. Kind of nice throwback. What is this? Not 8-bit. This is like 4-bit games. I guess it can't be 2-bit games. So yeah, more. It's all the same stuff in the video. Here you can see what it has in the back. So it has a micro SD card, USB, reset button, power, and HDMI, and I guess Ethernet. So let me show you like the one I got before. This is the one that I've looked at before, and they basically have, as soon as it loads, they basically have very similar kind of all-in-one PCs, and it's just a matter of what software you're putting on it. So in that case, those ones, I don't know if it's an Intel chip or probably AMD chip as well, but they actually have Windows XP on them. So you can use it as a computer, you can use it as a entertainment system, whatever. Their website is way slow. Anyway, so let's talk about alternatives game-wise as well, or say set-top box-wise as well. So of course I mentioned Roku. Roku actually has games, including some classic ones. So you can see all kinds of, you know, tiles, action, puzzles, asteroid shooter free. Let's see, screen grab of that. They have a fidget spinner game. Here's Azul. So yeah, fanless mini PC stick. So literally these things are the same. Where is it? Let's just click on that one. Where's my mini PC stick? Or this is also a mini PC barebone system. So actually strikingly similar. Like they have SD card. This uses Type C USB, mini whatever Type C USBs and full size USBs, and they have IR blaster as well, I believe. I don't know if it has to have the fan on top. I guess not. So that's that one. They have here's the stick. So the stick can basically sit behind your TV. You don't even need to have it out on the table. And these are also very similar. So it's got, I think in this case, powered through mini USB, got regular USB outs. These are USB 3.0. And somewhere in the, I think on the other side, there's the SD card slot and Ethernet. And of course, it also does Wi-Fi. So these options are out there. They're, I forgot, these things are somewhere in the same range, $160. So you could actually get one of these and load up, you know, all the software you want on them as well. But anyway, so as I was mentioning, Roku, Apple TV also has some pretty advanced games. So Apple TV, if you haven't seen it lately, it's now basically like an iPhone that connects straight to your TV. Like you can download apps, you have a little controller, you can run it off of your touchscreen on your phone as well if you want better input. So you got old school games, you got 3D versions of old school games, you've got puzzle games, you can buy all kinds of games, and I guess pretty much anything that works for iOS, they can make an Apple TV version as well. So those are, and plus you can do iTunes and sync with your iTunes library, all that kind of stuff, your iCloud. So the question is this enough? Is it, you know, is it worth, like, if you're going to get this one, you just get an Apple TV and you can play games on both. This thing is an open system. They actually, I think they say, you know, you can kind of change the OS and whatever, or they can load programs, people can create programs for it, etc. So personally, I actually kind of like it, and as I mentioned, I think before, yeah, developing games. So they got all the specs here. Where's it? Processor, Bristol Ridge A10. And so they actually address why, like, is this giant company, formerly giant company, doing crowdfunding, because they're not that big anymore. I actually looked up to see how this trademark got to these particular people, and there was this long, you know, if you know the history of Atari, it was quite long, like they actually lasted well into the 90s. They had the Jaguar, etc. And then eventually, I guess they were bought by Hasbro in 2001 after changing hands a couple times. And then somehow that got into Info Games, and then Info Games went bankrupt, and then it renamed itself, or just sort of re-emerged in 2013. And now it actually mentions in here so it was a division of Hasbro, yada yada yada. This was back in maybe their peak when they were making computers. And it actually mentions here about the VCS. So it says here somewhere in there they got down to 10 after they came out of bankruptcy. 1 year later, entered social casino gaming, and then the guy who's now the dude still in charge here, he has something like 10 people. Well, I think that was before, because they have nearly 10 dudes in the video itself. Their timeline is actually, I like it because it's way off. Like, they're giving themselves literally like, a year, almost a year, before they do pre-orders, and then actually goes on the full market a year from now. So they're not giving you something too unrealistic. It'll probably still be a quarter late, realistically. Here's the same dude mentioned in Wikipedia. Some of these guys actually worked for Atari for quite a while. This guy till 2007. They left, went off and worked for people like Disney, and they came back. So they're legit. They have a real background. They're not just some college kids who decided to resurrect something. This guy worked for all kinds of people. And yeah, so they even do FAQs. Modern connected device, yada yada yada. Depending on the bundle. Okay, they actually had some secret bundle which I got in a link, which I wasn't able to open because it expired already. But there's probably some other editions or some super early bird version that's now long gone. All kinds of anything you need to know is all in here, hypothetically. Except, will it actually ship on time? Probably not, but that's just my guess. Doesn't work with emulators, with the creators, so they're actually reaching out to developers. I like that a lot. Okay, so that's basically it. What else? There's a lot of comments for anything this popular with this many backers. There's just constant stream of comments back and forth. Push extraneous causes. Okay, what did they do? They pushed a cause. They're donating funds to somebody. I don't know what this guy's problem is. I think didn't Nintendo get political too with their gay partners or whatever on Nintendo Me World or whatever it was? So anyway, you guys can read through this. I'm going to give this guy a big thumbs up because I am born in the 70s, grew up with all these things. Like I said, I had Atari 800, probably still do somewhere in my parents' house. Faked VCS footage rumors. Let's read sure that isn't some scam. Tell us what's going on playing. Depicted for illustration purposes only, cannot comment on any kind of... Okay, so yeah, there's some whiners complaining. Tried to order the 99... okay, complaining. Anyhow, that's it for today on Go Kick Me. Wow, this is a really long one. I'm going to go for 20 minutes. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook at GoKickMe and GoKickMedia.com to sign up for our newsletter. That's it. See you guys next time. 2 thumbs up. Go Atari. Looking forward to seeing this thing out in a year and a half. Okay, bye.